Hello and welcome to Hook and Book. I'm your host, Jules, and this is our very first installment of breaking down the books that I read for the month prior while I do a little hooking. I don't know if I can say. And this is our very first installment of breaking down the books that I read last month while I do a little crochet. For today, we are powered up by our zero sugar strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper. This is not an ad, but I'm obsessed, and I was just thinking earlier, like yesterday or maybe today, I don't remember. I was like, man, if I ever had a girl, Pepper is a cute name. As I talk about the books that I read in the month of May, I'm going to be working on my pattern, which is called the Big Dill. I'll let you put two and two together as to what this pattern is about. So let's just hop straight into it. The very first book I'm going to talk about from my May reading is The Lady's Mind. For genres, it's going to be historical fiction, it's going to be romance, it's going to be Christian fiction. And I know that's going to maybe come as a surprise, but I have dabbled occasionally in Christian fiction, and I've read one book that was kind of and then I read one book that was really good, and then this one is by the renowned author Francine Rivers. Let me just say, I will now be following this author. I was blown away by this book. I went into the book knowing almost nothing, which is what I do with pretty much every book I read. I'll either see the title or a picture of the cover, and it will interest me based off of just the cover art or the name itself, and I will read the book. Very rarely do I read the blurb on the back. So this book is the tale of a displaced New England suffragette. Her family is like, girl, you are trouble, get out of here. She is sent out west, and there she runs into this mining town that is struggling to survive, and she runs into our main male character, who is a disinherited Union soldier because he fought for the Union even though he is from the Confederate South. So his family disowned him. Sorry, my camera stopped recording. So they're both like butting heads and trying to save the town at the same time. It is such a fun story. I give the plot 5 whole stars. And the female main character, she gets 5 stars as well. The main male character, 5 stars. For spice, if that's something you're looking for, you're going to be sorely disappointed. This is closed door, eyes closed, ears closed. There is pining, there's longing, there is a good, a good wait for them to get together. And so there is that, that just desire to be together, but it's very wholesome, very family friendly. I actually prefer not to read spice. It's just my personal conviction. So I would definitely recommend this to another fellow low spice reader. Honestly, even if you are a spice reader, sometimes it's good to have like just a good story, and if you have to have the spice, maybe get it somewhere else. But I love this book. One of my favorite elements about it is the enemy to lovers is top tier I've ever read. The way that the relationship kind of wraps up into a nice little bow is a little fast for me, but the arc of them being like, hey, you're attractive, I'm attracted to you, but man, you're a problem.
You're a problem. You're a real problem.
10 out of 10. They are so both mutually self-sabotaging towards this relationship that you can tell they both are interested in. So this is going to be like my Roman Empire of enemies to lovers for a while. As I was listening to this, I was like giggling and thinking to myself, like, this is the stuff I'm looking for in an enemies to lovers. I don't want this fake enemies to lovers stuff where they're just like brooding and they're just kind of being just bitchy to each other and that's it. Like, this is, she has reasons why she does not want to be with him, and he is less of the enemy. She is the enemy. She is like, get that romance stuff out of here. I do not want no man. The humor, the wit, the era, it was so. The Lady's Mind, 5 stars. Francine Rivers. I don't know what kind of magic you put in that book. I ate it up. The next book that I listened, okay, for context, I finished this book in the month of May. However, I started reading this book maybe half a year ago. I could not keep up with it. I read maybe 3 or 4 chapters and I was like, dull, boring, poo-poo. My Libby app had it. So I was like, let's give it a, I pledge, let's give it a check out. And I did, and I was just like, this is boring. So then this past month I was like, oh, let's give it another try. It was available as an audiobook, so I tried it as an audiobook. Before I get into anything else, the narrator for the boy sounded so much like Jason Statham.
It's Megalodon.
He sounded so much like Jason Statham that he's supposed to be this like 17-year-old boy, and I'm like, no. I have seen you kill the Megalodon.
Come on, you ugly bastard.
Anyway, so basically, Sabine and Aless are bone criers. They are from this ancient family who are tasked with shepherding the dead to the afterlife. Cool premise, right? However, they have to go through this very specific rite of passage. And because of the effects of this rite of passage, it makes them kind of like demonized by the local community, especially by these 3 other young people. Most specifically, Bastian. And Bastian is on this mission to avenge his father's participation in the rite of passage of the Bone Crier. So their involvement together is what sets off the events of the story, and you follow these 3 people. It's 3 point of views, so there's a lot to keep up with, and maybe that's why I struggled while reading the book and did better with the audiobook, because like as I'm reading, the voice in my head is the same, but if I'm listening to an audiobook, as it switches perspectives, I'm getting a different voice, and maybe that's what helped. However, in general, the book is kind of boring, and that's no shade on the author. I've never written a book before, but I struggled to read it. It was a lot easier to listen to, but there are moments where you're just like, this is, hang on, I'm fighting my crochet. Work with me, dang it. This is my own pattern, by the way. I'm struggling against myself. Come here, thread. Oh. Gotcha. There are times when I'm like, this story is like, it's kind of dragging on, or it's like, holy cow, slow down, what's happening? The ending was really fast. I would say it was almost rushed. You're in this really cool climax, and it all finishes in 2 hours? Yeah, it's mostly like 2 hours, and then I think you get a flash a couple days later. Which I thought was way too fast for also how kind of boring some parts of it were. But that's just my style. I'm also 28 years old, and I think I think these kids are 17. If I was a 17-year-old reader, I think I would gobble this story up. I think it would be the perfect amount of action and also like world building and whatever. For the female main characters, because there are 2, I'm going to give them both like a 4. I think I'm going to give Aless maybe a 3.5. I think Sabine's journey is more transformative, but also at the same time, Sabine kind of like struggles to do anything well. And I'm going to just chalk that up to her character arc and that she's a child. And when I think about being 17 myself, I was pretty useless. So, you know what? We'll keep them maybe both at 4s. I don't know. Read it yourself. If you have an opinion, please comment. Actually, on all of these books I'm talking about, I would love to hear someone else's thoughts. Bastian, the main male character, he's okay. He's a little whiny for me. I love his audiobook narrator's voice. Spice. There's no spice. And I think that's good. I think that's good for books that are written towards minors. And if you think that books that are written for minors should have spice, okay. The writing style is just kind of boring. It's kind of dull. There are elements that are well written. I just across the board, so struggling to follow with the story. It is, I think, part of a duology. So I think there's a second book. I'm not going to be pursuing the rest of the story, unfortunately, unless I'm like maybe stuck on a remote desert island and that's the only thing to read. Then yeah, I'd probably continue in the story. Across the whole book, let me look at my notes. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I think overall, Catherine Purdy is a good book writer for the youths. Insert that picture of Schmitty from New Girl.
Youths.
And now we get to the absolute most exciting book to talk about, which was When the Moon Hatched. Controversial book because I have heard such wondrous things about it. And then I read it, I formed some opinions. I watched Newly Nova here on YouTube. I saw her like breakdown of the book, so spot on accurate. And I think it may have influenced some of my opinions, but like not in the way of like I changed my opinions, but as if like you saw a picture in black and white and then someone turned the color on. And you're like, oh, that's it. That's the picture. It's It's the same picture, it's just more colorful and bright and perfect. So, across the whole book, I gave it on Goodreads 3 stars. We're following the story of Rave and also Khan, but let's talk about Rave first. Rave's an assassin for the rebellion group Fjord Off, and she's like the best at what she does. So basically what happens is a bounty hunter is sent after her because she's so good, she's causing so much trouble, and the bounty hunter captures her through a series of just really horrific events, and she's taken to trial. When she's taken to trial, it really throws her story. Oh, hang on. It's my husband. I've deducted a baby. As I'm sitting here, I'm wondering if I'm even in focus, but that's a later problem. This is my first review video. I can make mistakes. You will tell me what my mistakes are. Let me sit up straighter. Back to when the moon hatched. Get out of here, distractions. What are we talking about? Con. Oh, yes. So the bounty hunter captures Rave, and that sets her life into a really dark turn. Going with her through this dark turn is a man named Khan, and he is amazing. Okay, that's enough. No spoilers. As they proceed on their journey, we start to see glimpses that maybe we don't know everything that's going on. We're getting glimpses into the past via this journal written by some other girl. And then also we're seeing weird glimpses into the past through Khan's point of view. But then we're also getting glimpses of what's actually happening from Rave's perspective. And the general consensus is just like, this is lots going on. Across the whole book, I gave it 3 stars. I'm gonna break it down because as I flip my notes to see what I broke it down into, here we are. Plot, 5 stars, maybe 6. It is one of the most interesting storylines I've ever encountered. Fascinating. The world is super confusing, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't give it 5 stars, is because I couldn't tell you where we were ever. Couldn't tell you who's the king of what. I couldn't tell you where the city was, why there's 2 parts to it, where we were. I was always lost.
Well, this sucks.
I never knew where I was. You could have told me we were in Narnia.
That's Narnia.
Narnia? What's that?
Oh dear girl, you're in it.
And I would have been like, yeah, makes sense, the wardrobe. But the way that the world is described with like the aurora ribbons, and it's just really cool world. I will say that, so as I read, I kind of am watching a movie in my head. I'm one of those people who read in like 4K. And that's one of the reasons why like sometimes certain topics are just too much for me, because it's not that I'm just reading it, I'm watching it go down in here, like hallucinating as I read. In my head, it played better if I did it like in an animated style, to see like the aurora ribbons. Like it was harder to imagine in a like a live action way, and easier in like an old Disney animation style. So that's kind of how I like viewed this story in my head as I was reading it out. The descriptions were so cool, and the world it's built in is very cool. It was confusing. Maybe it's because I'm reading at night and I'm tired. That could be it. Maybe I'm just dumb. That's also a strong possibility. When it comes to characters, I'm gonna be so brutally honest with you. Rave is a 2-star character. I cannot stand that girl. She is got a lot of troubled backstory, but I also think that like she's just not supposed to be likable. She's funny in certain elements, but just across the board, I'm like, girl, you're such a bitch. Such a bitch. And that makes me sad. I want to like the female main character. She's almost like too cool for her own good. She's supposed to be the super capable, super tough girl, and yet she's always needing to be helped out of these situations, which makes her toughness and her capability and her independence a little questionable. Because like, if I told everyone, hey, I'm a boss girl, I can do whatever I want, and then I always crash all my new business ventures into bankruptcy, and then my dad has to buy me out, and then I started my next business venture and I bankrupted that. Then after a while, people be like, girl, you should not be doing this. Like, you are not the entrepreneur you think you are. You just might not have what it takes. That's kind of my opinion of Rave and her tough girl, I'm gonna kill everyone. Now, there is this element of like, she's kind of possessed, or like something possesses her. And that thing is very capable. What it is, I don't know. I don't think it's a demon, because that kind of would be creepy and scary, but it's something. And when it takes over, it is capable. And this is how much progress we've made. Whenever that thing takes over Rave, then yeah, she's working at like 110%. One moment while I count my rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rave, I kind of have beef with her, but you know, it's also like artistic license. The author, like, I don't want to be mad at the author for how she wrote her, because that's her vision for who Rave is. I just don't like the girl. I don't like her. I think my favorite part of Rave in the entire story was when she jumped in the river and she's having these conversations with the tribesmen, and she's like, I keep eyeing the river. I'm like, just imagining in my head this girl who's just like, gotta get to the river, river. She's kind of like a rat. I love it. In some ways, but she's a mean rat. She's a rat that bites. I don't like that. Anyway, when it comes to the main male character, Khan, he's great. He's a great character. He's a little overly He-Man written, as in like, I'm the biggest male, I've got the coolest tattoos, I'm the chief, but I stepped down because I'm so noble. It's confusing, and he's so overtly hypermasculine that it's just not the most believable. But his soul in his overly hypermasculine body is great. The biggest beef that I have with Khan is that he did do bad things with his brother's fiance. Shameful. But in general, he's a really cool character. The side characters, some of them are great. Some of them, like Pyrock, Pyrock's a little annoying. He's so overly side character. He is a side character. He is like the buddy, but also he's so overtly written into that category that it's, again, not believable. I'd be curious to see Pyrock go through some growth, something, anything. And then there's the one guy, see, he's so, like, he has left no impression on my brain. I don't know his name. All I know is he goes off to conquer the silver dragon, and we know, like, he's such an underdeveloped character. I would be more interested in following him than Pyrock. That's just me. The writing is poetry, pure poetry. Too poetry? Maybe. Sometimes it's a little hard to follow along. There were times when I had to read and then reread a sentence, but then by the time you got it, you're like, oh, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to describe it. So like, it's a little, it kind of like dilutes the story a little bit because you are so like fixated on trying to understand what the sentence is saying. But by the time you get it, it's just like, mwah, it's perfect. I love it. I love it. So her writing style's got me. It's got me. I really appreciate it. Spice. Hope you haven't been to war. There have been flashbangs. And PTSD of the sex scenes in this book. Start a chapter? What's going on? Oh, wiener. Wiener's happening. Not on my watch. I like spice in my crab boil. I do not like spice in my books. Judge me. You can't hurt me. You don't even know me. Anyway, the spice is there, but I've heard overviews of the spice scenes and I've heard they're corny. I don't know. You'll have to tell me. I would not recommend this to a young reader, just because of the maturity of the spice and also because of some of the graphic elements. There's some pretty adult topics in this book. I would definitely half recommend it to an adult reader. I just think that this is a very niche book that not everyone would enjoy. I think that if you're into reading for the plot and the action and the fast pace, this might not be the book for you because there's a lot of reading in between all that. I'm someone who, I like the high fantasy, I like that sort of stuff. I did enjoy this book, so take that with a grain of salt. It's a 3-star overall for me. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series. We will have to see. All right, I'm nowhere near done with my pickle. That's what it is. It's a Big Dill. So those are my 3 books from the month of May. I feel like I read more, but when I was looking through my Goodreads, this is all I saw. So Shocking. Oh, I know what it is. I've started many books in May and I just haven't finished them. I got into a slight reading slump after I finished the Shield of Sparrows. Shield of Sparrows put me in a decent slump. That is, I'm going to talk about that next month. But I've definitely caught back onto my reading swing of things. So next month we are going to be talking about several more books. And I can't wait to talk about them. One of them that is just, it's crushing my brain because I'm thinking about it is I, Medusa. I, Medusa is going to be on the rotation for next month's Chit Chat when we do this again, hopefully. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll hate this so much I'll never do it again. I, Medusa's on there. It's also going to be the Rite of Starling. I have a couple more that I'm reading. I'll be curious to see if I finish them up. And it's going to be a good time next time. So if you enjoyed this, give me some pointers because I've never done this before. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? What should I read in the month of June? And we can talk about it next time. If you're interested in the Big Dill pattern, check in again because I'm making sure that the pattern is sound, and then I'll publish the pattern. I'll show you what the little dill looks like. This is the little dill, okay? What I'm making right now is going to be the supersized version. This is a little dill. That's a little dill. This is just me making it bigger because I want to see if I can do like almost, not a nesting doll, but I want to get until it's like a huge one. I think it'd be fun to make a really big dill. That's a little cringy. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so if you're interested in the Big Dill pattern, let me know in the comments. And if you subscribe, that's great. The goal of this channel is to give away whatever product I'm working on. So once I hit a certain amount of followers, as I do this video, I'm going to be making something. And then it will be to be given away. I'll give like the comments about a week to everyone. Enter the giveaway. And then I will be sending it off to one of you. And also, the second reason why I started this channel is I want sheep. I live in the country and I want sheep, but I'm just not there yet where I can have sheep. So I was like, you know what I can do is I can try to find a way of financially saving and fundraising for the sheep that I want. I just think it'd be amazing to make these little crochet toys with yarn that I grew and carded and spun and dyed and then crochet with. Your subscription to my channel and your like support me donating cute little stuffed toys and do my sheep fund. So thank you. You're helping me. Love you.